You're jolting awake at 2 a.m. again, and everyone blames the water you drank. But here's what your doctor isn't telling you. That midnight alarm clock in your body is sending a specific message, and it has almost nothing to do with your bladder. Most people think their 2 a.m. wake-up is just an annoyance, something to accept as part of getting older. But what if I told you that this exact pattern is your body's way of signaling something deeper, something that's actually fixable? The real reason you're waking up has been hiding in plain sight, and once you understand it, you'll never look at your sleep the same way again. Think about your last week. You probably went to bed around the same time, felt yourself drifting off, and then, like clockwork, your eyes snapped open somewhere between 1:30 and 2:30 a.m. Maybe you felt a slight panic, checked the time, and thought, not again. You might have blamed that cup of tea or the glass of water, rolled over and tried to fall back asleep for the next hour. Some nights you succeeded. Other nights you just lay there, your mind suddenly wide awake, wondering what was wrong. That's not just a coincidence. Your body isn't randomly picking 2 a.m. out of spite. Over the next few minutes, we're going to explore the real mechanics behind your 2 a.m. wake-up call. I'm going to show you 3 specific systems in your body that might be the actual culprit, and they have nothing to do with that extra sip of water. Then, I'll give you practical, actionable steps you can start using immediately to help your body settle back into deeper, uninterrupted sleep. Before I explain this, I need to know something. How old are you right now? And where are you watching from? Type your age and location in the comments. This will help me understand my audience better. By the end of this video, you'll understand what's happening in your body at that exact moment you wake up. You'll know which of these 3 causes is most likely affecting you, and you'll have a clear action plan to start sleeping through the night again. More importantly, you'll feel empowered, because you'll finally know that this isn't something you have to just accept as part of aging. Let's start with your body's internal alarm clock, which runs on something called your circadian rhythm. This is your 24-hour biological schedule that tells your body when to wake, when to sleep, when to feel hungry, and when to feel alert. Now here's the fascinating part. Your body doesn't just decide to wake up randomly. Instead, it follows a specific pattern based on the hormones it produces throughout the day and night. One of the most important hormones for this pattern is cortisol, often called the stress hormone, though it's actually much more nuanced than that. Cortisol is like your body's natural alarm clock. It starts to rise naturally in the hour or 2 before you wake up in the morning, which helps you feel more alert and ready to face the day. This is completely normal and healthy. But here's what happens when your system gets a little out of balance. Your cortisol might spike at the wrong time, sometimes around 2 a.m., and that little hormonal bump is enough to jolt you awake, even if there's nothing actually threatening you. Think of it like your house alarm system. Normally, the alarm goes off when someone tries to get in. But if the sensor gets a little too sensitive, it might go off when a leaf blows past the window. Your cortisol is doing the same thing. It's firing at the wrong time because your body's internal schedule has become too sensitive. The good news? This is one of the most fixable patterns of all, because it's directly related to how you're spending your days. Your daytime habits, the light you're exposed to, the meals you're eating, even the times you exercise, are all sending signals to your cortisol system. Change those signals, and your cortisol stops misfiring at 2 a.m. Now let's talk about the second part of this puzzle. Your natural sleep architecture. Your sleep isn't one long, solid block of unconsciousness. Instead, it's actually made up of multiple cycles, each lasting about 90 minutes. During each cycle, you move through different stages: light sleep, deeper sleep, and REM sleep, which is where dreaming happens. Most people don't realize this, but waking up between cycles is actually more common than they think. The issue comes when you're not sleeping deeply enough to stay asleep through those transition points. It's like being in a car on a smooth road versus a bumpy road. On the smooth road, the car stays in its lane even as conditions shift. But on a bumpy road, every small jolt wakes you up and makes you hyper-aware of your surroundings. When your sleep is shallow, and this often happens because of what's called sleep fragmentation, your brain is more likely to notice those natural transitions between cycles and pull you awake. And once you're awake at 2 a.m., your mind often kicks into high gear. You start thinking about tomorrow, wondering about your health, worrying about why you woke up. Before you know it, you're locked in that frustrating cycle of alertness. The interesting thing is that what causes shallow sleep in the first place often circles back to that cortisol issue we just discussed, plus two other major factors we're about to explore. So these aren't separate problems. They're connected threads in the same pattern. Here's something most people have never heard about, but it's absolutely crucial. Your body has a built-in reset point in your nervous system, and it happens to be programmed for around 2 to 3 a.m. Your nervous system has two main modes. The first is your sympathetic nervous system. This is your on mode, your fight or flight response. It's what helps you react quickly when you need to. The second is your parasympathetic nervous system. This is your off mode, your rest and digest mode. This is what allows you to feel calm and to sleep deeply. Throughout the day, your body is supposed to shift back and forth between these two modes naturally. But when you're living a life of constant stress, and I mean constant, whether that's from work worry, family responsibilities, health concerns, or even just the 24/7 news cycle, your sympathetic nervous system stays on far too long. By the time you get to bed, your body hasn't fully downloaded from that activated state. You might feel tired enough to fall asleep, but you're not truly in a relaxed state. Then, around 2 a.m., something interesting happens. Your body attempts what I call a reset. It tries to force a nervous system shift from sympathetic to parasympathetic. But this shift can be jolting if your nervous system is already on edge. It's like a computer that's been running too many programs at once. When it finally tries to do a system shutdown and restart, it needs to do a hard reset. And that hard reset wakes you up. You experience that jolt as a sudden awakening, sometimes with a racing heart, sometimes with a surge of anxiety, sometimes with just that inexplicable sense of being wide awake. When you wake up at 2 a.m., do you notice that your mind immediately starts racing? Or does your body feel a little tense, like you're still halfway in fight or flight mode? Take a moment and think about that. This observation is actually really important because it tells you which of these mechanisms is most active in your specific situation. Now that you understand what's actually happening, let's talk about what you can do. I'm going to give you 3 straightforward approaches. You don't need to do all 3 at once. In fact, I'd recommend starting with just one and seeing how your body responds over the course of a week or 2. The first approach targets your cortisol rhythm. The way to reset a misaligned cortisol system is actually quite simple. You need to anchor your body's internal clock with light and darkness. Your cortisol system is exquisitely sensitive to light. When you're exposed to bright light, preferably sunlight, within the first hour of waking up, you're sending a powerful signal to your cortisol system that says, okay, this is the beginning of the day. Wake up now and settle down tonight. This doesn't require anything fancy. A 10-minute walk outside in natural light first thing in the morning can make a profound difference. If you're in a part of the world where mornings are dark, even a very bright light therapy lamp for 20 or 30 minutes can help. The key is consistency. Your body likes patterns. If you do this same time every morning, within about 2 weeks, your cortisol will start to realign. That 2 a.m. spike will diminish, and you'll notice your sleep becoming more stable. The second part of cortisol management is equally simple. Avoid bright light in the evening. About 2 to 3 hours before bed, start dimming the lights in your home. If you're using a phone, tablet, or computer, either put them away or use a blue light filter. This signals to your body that evening is coming, and it allows your cortisol to naturally decrease as it should. The beautiful thing about this approach is that you can feel the effects remarkably quickly. Many people report sleeping more soundly within just 3 to 5 days of establishing this light-dark rhythm. It's one of the most powerful tools you have, and it costs nothing. The second major approach focuses on sleep depth. Remember those 90-minute sleep cycles we talked about? The way to sleep through those transitions is to make sure your sleep is genuinely deep and restorative. One of the most important ways to deepen sleep is through temperature. Your bedroom should be cool, ideally between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 15 to 19 degrees Celsius. Your body naturally needs to drop its core temperature to fall into deep sleep and to stay there. If your room is too warm, your body struggles to maintain that deep sleep state, and you wake up more easily at those vulnerable transition points. Another crucial element is your sleep environment itself. Your bed should be comfortable. Your room should be as dark as possible, and there should be minimal noise. I know these sound like obvious things, but you'd be surprised how many people are trying to sleep in conditions that work against them. But here's something less obvious that makes a huge difference: the timing of your meals and exercise. If you eat a large meal close to bedtime, your digestive system is active while you're trying to sleep, and that activity can fragment your sleep. Similarly, if you exercise too late in the day, generally after 3 p.m., you're elevating your heart rate and nervous system activity too close to bedtime. So the strategy here is simple. Eat your last significant meal about 3 hours before bed, and do your exercise in the morning or early afternoon. This allows your body to be genuinely at rest when you're trying to sleep. Notice how these strategies are starting to connect? The light exposure in the morning that helps your cortisol also helps your digestive timing. The cool room that deepens sleep also supports your nervous system reset. You're not fixing isolated problems. You're supporting your entire sleep system to work the way it's designed to work. The third major approach is about actively downregulating your nervous system before bed. Remember that sympathetic-parasympathetic balance we discussed? You can deliberately tilt that balance toward calm before you go to sleep. One of the most evidence-based ways to do this is through breathing. Specifically, a technique called extended exhale breathing, where your exhale is longer than your inhale. When you exhale longer than you inhale, you're directly activating your parasympathetic nervous system. Your vagus nerve, which is like the main control line for your rest and digest system, responds powerfully to this pattern. A simple version that works beautifully is the 4-8-8 technique. Breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and exhale for a count of 8. You can do this for just 2 or 3 minutes before bed, and it sends a very clear signal to your nervous system. It's safe to relax now. Another powerful practice is what's sometimes called a body scan. Before bed, simply lie down and mentally scan through your body from your toes to your head, noticing areas of tension and consciously relaxing them. This might sound simple, but it's remarkably effective because it brings your awareness inward and away from whatever thoughts or worries might be keeping you activated. Some people find that gentle yoga, tai chi, or even just a slow walk works beautifully for this nervous system reset. The key is something that's gentle, rhythmic, and has your full attention, not something you're doing while thinking about your to-do list. Among these 3 approaches, the light-dark rhythm, the sleep-deepening strategies, or the nervous system calming techniques, which one resonates most with you? Which one feels like something you could actually implement starting this week? Now, here's where many people stumble. They try to implement all of these things at once. They get overwhelmed, and they quit after 3 days. Don't do that. Instead, I'd recommend choosing one strategy and giving it a full 2 weeks before you layer in another one. If your issue is that your mind races when you wake at 2 a.m. and you have trouble falling back asleep, start with the nervous system approach. Get very comfortable with that 4-8-8 breathing technique so that when you do wake up, you have a tool that works for you. If you find that you're waking up and feeling physically restless or tense, start with the sleep-deepening strategies. Make sure your room is cool, assess your meal timing, and see if moving your exercise earlier in the day helps. If you suspect your 2 a.m. wake-up is connected to a general misalignment in your energy levels throughout the day, maybe you feel tired in the morning or wired at night, start with the light-dark rhythm. This is the fundamental architecture that supports everything else. After 2 weeks with your first strategy, you'll have a much clearer sense of whether it's working. If it is working beautifully, congratulations, you've solved a problem that was waking you up night after night. If it's helping, but you're still not where you want to be, then layer in a second strategy. The reason I'm telling you to go slowly is because this isn't about forcing your body into compliance. It's about working with your body's natural systems and giving them time to rebalance. These aren't quick fixes that work overnight. They're genuine adjustments that compound over time. And here's the part that really matters. The changes you're making are things that will improve your overall health far beyond just your sleep. Better light exposure, regular exercise, deeper breathing, a cooler room, better meal timing. These aren't just sleep hacks, they're foundations of genuine health. I'd love to know, which of these 3 approaches feels most relevant to your situation? When you wake up at 2 a.m., is it your mind that's racing? Is it your body that feels tense? Or is it something else entirely? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if you've already discovered something that helps you sleep through the night, share that too, because we're all learning from each other in this community. Now, a quick note. Everything I've shared with you is for educational purposes based on general health principles. Everyone's situation is unique, and if you have specific health concerns, especially if you're taking medications, dealing with chronic pain, or managing a diagnosed sleep disorder, please talk with your own doctor. They know your complete medical picture, and they can guide you on what's safest and most appropriate for your individual situation. In our next videos, we're going to dive into something equally fascinating: the hidden foods that are actually sabotaging your sleep without you even realizing it. Some of them are things people eat every single day, thinking they're helping their sleep, when they're actually doing the exact opposite. You won't want to miss that one. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me today. Your sleep matters. Your rest matters. And the fact that you're curious enough to understand what's happening in your body, that's the first step toward genuine change. You're not broken, and you're not alone in this. Thousands of people are waking up at 2 a.m., and with these tools, you now have a way forward. Sleep well tonight, and I'll see you in the next video.